Hello, I'm so glad you're here. Today, we're going to talk all the basics about fasting, what it is, how it works, various types of fasting, all those kind of things. Do you have to be keto or carnivore to fast? We're going to cover it all. So here we go. Okay, first thing, what is fasting? Well, the definition for intermittent fasting is an eating pattern where you cycle between periods of eating and fasting. So, unlike diets, it doesn't prescribe what you eat, but it focuses on when you eat. Now, how does fasting work? Well, during fasting, your body uses stored fat for energy, promoting fat burning, metabolic flexibility. This fits well with ketogenic and carnivore diets, which also encourage the body to use fat as fuel. Now, there are different types of fasting windows. So, typically, a fasting period can range from a few hours to a full day, but the exact schedule can vary depending on the personal preference. Okay, so how does this connect to ketogenic and carnivore eating? Well, both approaches rely on fat as a primary fuel source, encouraging fat burning and ketosis. Intermittent fasting enhances the ability to use stored fat for energy, deepening the benefits of ketosis. I'm also going to address some myths about fasting. Some people will say fasting will slow down the metabolism. However, that is if you are doing fasting long term and you're doing it too much, including caloric restriction too much. So, if you are intermittent fasting on occasion, it's not going to slow down your metabolism. Myth number two is fasting will lead to muscle loss. In a ketogenic state, the body actually preserves muscle and uses fat for energy. So, as long as you stay in a ketogenic state, you'll be good. Now, here are some reasons why some people might fast. Number one is fat loss. By allowing insulin levels to drop during fasting, the body can actually access burned stored fat more easily, which is particularly helpful for those following the ketogenic or carnivore diet. Reason number two, improved metabolism. Fasting supports metabolic flexibility, helping the body to transition between burning carbs and burning fat more efficiently. Reason number three, mental clarity. Oh my gosh, the mental clarity is huge for people who fast. Many people report feeling more focused and clear headed during fasting as the brain shifts from using carbs to using ketones as its primary fuel. And number four is just overall health improvements. Intermittent fasting may help lower inflammation. It can improve heart health and regulate blood sugar levels. And that makes it a very beneficial way for those who are insulin resistant and have metabolic disorders to improve those problems. Now, there are different types of intermittent fasting. Number one, the first one is time restricted feeding. The definition of that is that you are eating within a specific window of time, such as 8 hours, and fasting for the remainder hours of the day. This is the most popular and most used version. Now, you don't necessarily have to fast any particular time of the day. You just have to make sure that you're fasting a certain amount of hours of the day. So here's an example, the 16-8 method. You're fasting for 16 hours and you're eating within an 8-hour window. For instance, you might eat from 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. and fast from 8 p.m. to 12 p.m. the next day. Okay. I do recommend having breakfast to help regulate cortisol in the morning. However, everybody's different. Some people can handle it and it's totally fine. Now, why does time restricted fasting work? It works because it encourages metabolic flexibility and promotes fat burning without being too restricted. It's really the ideal place to start for beginners. The second type of intermittent fasting is alternate day fasting. So this is defined as alternating between fasting days and regular eating days. So on fasting days, calories are either restricted or limited to about 500 to 600 calories. On fasting days, the body is pushed into a deeper state of fat burning and autophagy. This one is not one that I would recommend to do long term or for like all the time, like every other day, all the time, unless you have some really intense healing to do. The third method is called the 5-2 method. This one is where you are eating normally for 5 days of, this is 10, for 5 days of the week, and you're restricting calorie intake to about 500 to 600 calories or less for 2 non-consecutive days. This allows for flexibility as you only have to restrict twice a week. which might make fasting easier for those who are new to it. The fourth one is called the 24-hour fast. Some people call it OMAD, or one meal a day. So this means you're fasting for 24 hours, typically eating only one meal a day. So an example would be you're eating dinner at 6 p.m. and you probably finish within 30 minutes, and then you'll fast again until 6 p.m. the next day. So OMAD helps simplify eating habits. It makes it a popular choice amongst carnivore eaters. I really believe it can be helpful for some males. For women, I say to use it very sparingly, as our hormones come into play in that arena. And then also, it's really difficult for women to eat enough calories in that one meal. Male tend to be able to do that easier. Number 5 is extended fasting. This is fasting for longer periods, typically 48 hours or more. Prolonged fasts push the body into a deeper state of ketosis and autophagy, allowing for gut healing and more significant fat burning. These are best for those who are metabolically flexible and already comfortable with fasting. I would never push a 48-hour fast on a newbie. Okay, you got to work up to it. Okay, I wanted to also give you some tips for successful fasting. So number 1, I would say ease into fasting. If you are new to fasting, start with shorter fasts, like 12 hours eating, 12 hours fasting, or 16 hours fasting, 8 hours eating, and then gradually increase the fasting window over time. The second suggestion I would give is to stay hydrated. Drink plenty of water. Make sure you have some really good electrolytes on hand. Don't skimp on the electrolytes. Add it as you need. Some really good brands are LMNT, Redmond's Relight, Ultima. Some people just put salt in their water as well. This will help to avoid headaches and fatigue as well. Number 3 is listen to your body. This is the biggest key, the biggest tip you could receive. If you start feeling faint or overly fatigued, it could be a sign to break the fast. Another sign is if you're checking your blood glucose and it's below 55, even below 60 for some people, I would pay attention to that and break the fast. Fasting should not cause extreme discomfort. You should be able to still go on with your day and do your daily tasks. If you find yourself laying on the couch, not really able to do much, it's time to break your fast. And that brings me to number 4 is how do you break your fast? Always break your fast with something healthy. Protein and fat. You can add a little bit of probiotics such as Greek yogurt, especially if it's homemade. You could do a little kimchi or sauerkraut, something fermented, and that'll also help with your gut microbiome. All the fasting that you've done is killing off the bad cells, and this would help to replenish the good cells. Do not break your fast with junk food or giant keto treats or anything like that. You want healthy protein and healthy fats. And the last point, the last tip is to tailor your fasting to your needs. So fasting isn't a one-size-fits-all. You need to try different methods and figure out which one works for you. So to recap, intermittent fasting is a flexible and effective tool to enhance fat burning, improve metabolic health, and simplify eating routines for those who are following ketogenic or carnivore diets. One thing I did forget to mention is some people have asked me, do I need to be ketogenic or carnivore to fast? Absolutely, you do not. However, it makes it a lot easier because your body has become fat adapted and has relied on it. So when you try to do the longer ones, it's a lot easier when you do follow a ketogenic or carnivore way of eating. So in conclusion, fasting can be adapted to your individual lifestyle and doesn't need to be complicated. Find what works for you. I hope this video has helped you today, and if it has, don't forget to follow me and keep on going.